Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for the 2nd of June. So we're pretty much on track here. So from this wave 4 here, we've been counting up as 1 and 2 and 3 to here and 4 back to this line here. So we had that reversal from this low here, which is good. But I just wanted to talk about this because I think that it could just get a little bit weirder here. So this little pattern in here, let's just go to the 1 hour chart. So I had it like this and expecting the market to push up from that point, and yes it can, but just investigating this little thing here, I was just curious to see that it's possible to look at this as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave back down here. So a little bit unfortunate. So if I bring this across on a tick chart, but not the 100 ticks but 20 ticks, you can see that this move that we've got coming up through here, if you've got a closer eye here, we could count this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then the ABC correction. So we can look at that as an impulse wave, but I'm sort of looking at it as a bit of an A wave really. And then a B wave to here, and then we can see this trend here. Even though you may not be able to count it, what you can say about it is that it's all the same. It's not like it's different. Do you know what I mean? It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. So it's really all the same leg really. So it's a little bit difficult to call this structure up here 5 waves up here. It could be counted slightly differently in that we could look at it as wave 1 and 2 and then wave 1 and 2, but this is sunk a bit too sort of low for that. So yeah, but even so I can count this as 1, 2, 3 here. 4's a little bit high and 5 here, that's a little bit high, so we can't go that way, so we'd have to count as 1 and 2 here. And this correction came up really quite high, didn't it? So we'd have to look at that as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then a nice strong 3rd wave here and a 4th wave and a 5th wave here. So in this case we could join the dots here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the 3rd wave. That would bring this 1 and 2 here. That would bring that down to, well, do we call that 5 waves here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finishing there. Not too sure about that, but it does give us an impulse wave here. So we may end up getting a correction here today on the open, and then coming down for 3, 4, and 5 here to finish off a C wave down here. A little bit unfortunate, and it may not be the case, but the banks, the resources are going to jump, but the banks can fall back a little bit. I don't use this chart much, it's just the 20 tick chart, so it's just and this would be the 72 in here because that's sub-level in there. Can we use any of these? Yeah, and this would be 65 in here. So 65, close enough. And 50, the midpoint in here. And then we've got group 1 down here, so I'll put that onto the 30 there. Roughly speaking. Anyway, I'll fix all that up later. So yeah, I'm just wondering if we get this this ABC pattern coming down here. That's the first thing that struck me this morning. So it's just something that you know, I could be wrong and we could just move straight up. That would be nice, but it does look a little bit impulsive down here as well. Let me just double check that. I mean, this move up here is in 3 waves here, but it makes a new high here. So I'll need to check the cash market on that. But based on that high, we could look at that as an A and a B wave here, and then 1, 2, 3, ABC for 4, oh no, for 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So it does count as an ABC, but I'm just a bit unsure about that top. Let's check it out. Oh no, it has a high here on this second high, on this top here. So we could look at that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here on the cash market. So wave 1 and 2 here, and so 1 and 2 to here. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. It's a bit dodgy, isn't it? Let me check it another way. XJO. Yes, sort of splitting hairs here again as well on that one. Yeah, it could be counted this, but anyway, it doesn't really, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky one, because even if it is an A and a B and a C wave down here, that would still, it could still be just be an A wave and go back for the B wave and then down for the C wave here. So, but the cash market from the last session it's got a nice impulse wave here, so we should have a correction and then another impulse wave. Anyway, just a bit of an alarm bell there on that one, something you may just need to hold through, but everything's said and done, we could just go straight up, or we're going to come down. We're either going to do something like this, that will come on the old lows, it will be like that, or we can just push up from that point. But yeah, it just looked like a little B wave in here, so just highlighting that concern. Okay, so to the banks. So with ANZ, we were had a bit of a sell-off here. That sort of kind of expected in a way. We're looking for wave 3 to come in close to these tops here, so that's there. Let's just see how that plays out for that one. And CommBank, we're not really expecting anything of CommBank, because we know that it needs to vibrate here. The question is that, do we now have the top in here for that? That's a bit of a serious sort of question here, but it would only be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for that. But this top would be reasonably significant, because this wave 4 here, this would spend more time here than wave 2. Wave 2 was simple and ABC, a zigzag structure, 535. So wave 4 would spend more days than wave 2 here. And it's logical to think that as well, because this is a big emotional event. This is just one event here of this third wave here, and it may not be finished. There may be another high here. I haven't pulled it all apart properly, but it certainly could be. Just take half an hour to ponder over it, but I don't have that. So yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter, because if it makes a new high, it's just going to come back here again as well. It's not like it's going to continue to run up here, because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I can see that the middle's in the middle here, the powerful point's right here. So from this being the beginning here, the middle here, and this would be the ending here. So even if there was another high, it's not going to go very far. It's going to come back and stick here. So we're going to spend 20 days here. We're going to spend a month here without actually saying much and going back over things. So as long as you're aware of that, but eventually we should push up into higher ground to 105 and maybe even higher. We'll see how that plays out. But it's the resource sector that I like. Iron ore is up 6%, 6.35%. This is the Chinese exchange, and yeah, as you know, the Chinese weren't very happy about the prices being so high, but they wanted to go into the free market. BHP were happy to do a deal with them, but they thought they knew better, so now they're copying it. And the interesting thing here is that I always wait really for the first move down. I mean, there's some things you can do. You can get the first 5 waves here, and then you can short that. in whatever strategy that you want, but having that first 5 waves there would give you another 5. But after that second lot of 5 waves here, then we don't know what we've got. We'll either have it down as a wave C or wave 3. So then we'll look at a wave 4, and we know that a wave 4 can't overlap the price territory of wave 1 here. Didn't mean to use green, sorry about that. But we do have that now. We have that overlap here for that. So that means that this wave 4 here is not the case. So it does give more emphasis to the ABC scenario here now. Of course, it could be that it could be down for 1 and back for 2, and then down for 1 and back for 2, and have a bigger bear market down. So that's possible. So what we could do in that case, we need to look at both sides of the market, you know. So it's just, but we're above the 61.8% here. So we could say that if this market followed through and moved up, you know, because that's the 78.6 here at 1200. So we could say if the 1200 became the support, then that would really confirm that we don't have this as a 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here for that. And then we could, you know, we could stay in our wave C here for that. The stochastics was something else that we'd been looking at with BHP and Rio and so on in that case, and it also sent us looking for long trades in that sector anyway. So let's just go in and have a little look at that. I suppose it's good to start with US BHP in this case because it was the last closing price and it's up 2.94%. So that's a nice little sort of thing to the upside. And we were looking at this here in a couple of different ways. We had wave 1 and 2 here, as you know, and 3 here and 4 here. And then I did have wave 5 here, but, you know, as I mentioned, it was like too short. I understood that, you know, the wave 1 was quite big and this wave 3 here, you know, really spent about the same amount of time, but could be viewed a little bit smaller in that time scale, leaving wave 5 to be smaller still, but it was just a little bit too small. So we looked at it in 2 ways, and we still need to look at it in 2 ways. One of them was that, well, perhaps this wave 4 needs to be over here for that, and we look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here for wave 4. Or we could look at this as wave 1 up here and coming back for wave 2 here, because we'd noticed the stochastics right down low here that gave us that signal, you know. So we knew that the market was overstretched. It was at the 72, it was at the 61.8% mark. So it was a fantastic place to have a bounce at that point. And bouncing, it is, well, it's more like it's taken off rather than bouncing. So it does give a little bit more weight to this 1 and 2 here in this particular instance. But I still don't have enough evidence that, you know, we're going to continue to move up from this point yet. With iron ore moving up, that looks really good. Let's just check on crude and copper. So there we go with crude. So we've just push through that top there, so that's healthy, and not only that top but this top here too. So this count is looking pretty good at this point, so we'll just remove this one now. But what that does is, it wasn't really the trade that I was looking for here, and I don't encourage people to trade crude unless you're taking a longer term view of it, because it can get very spiky and nasty in there. So be better off looking at it on a weekly view and or even monthly, and try to find some, you know, ETF or stock where you're not paying interest and just stay in the trend. use the weekly robo method or monthly robo method. That would keep you pretty safe in a trend. So that's looking good. Let's just have a look at copper, because BHP is the copper dude. That's crude. That's not what we want. Copper. Okay, a little bit flat here for this, but yeah. We'll just see how that plays out here. We want to get at that level there, the 10,300. We want that as a tested support. Then that way I know that the market has been severed from being pulled back from at the 10,000. So getting support on top of group 1 is what we'll be looking for. The move up here so far could be counted as an A and a B and a C wave to that top there, because this would be 1 and 2 in here and 3, 4 and 5 here. So we could look at that as 1 and 2 and 3, or we could look at it as an A and a B and a C wave here. But once we get support on top of the 300 there, then like I mentioned, the market psychology volume, the people will be looking at 500 rather than back to 10,000. If the 200 becomes the retested resistance, then it will be pulled back to the 10 at that point. So the number 3 is really, it's a fantastic number to understand on the bullish side and the bearish side. So I believe that this is a corrective pattern, because the first move here was in 3 waves. So it doesn't mean that that's the low there. The low could be over here as well, and we need to sort of move things across here and you know, do the unfortunate expanding out like this for this. So I don't know that question just yet, but getting support on top of the 300 would validate this particular wave 4 here. Anyway, not negative nor positive, so that's good. And if that 300 becomes there, that's going to be another feather in the cap for BHP. So on that note, let's look at local BHP. So the same thing applies here as well. We've got wave 1 and 2 and 3 here. Is wave 4 over here, or is this wave 4 here? Wave 5 I just think is too small, so we've already been through that. Do we look at, copy this, do we look at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here? I'm a little bit dubious about that too, because we're going into the 5th wave here, for example, and yet this wave 1 in the 3rd wave, that should have been the biggest, but it was the biggest in the 1st wave here. So this is a really big wave 1. So that sort of leaves me scratching my head there as well, to be honest. But that said, we figured that the market would be, on the stochastics here, was basically setting up really nicely here somewhere. How do you get rid of these things? The volume's not that impressive. Anyway, you can see that we talked about it down here for that. But yeah, we're not getting much volume coming in there for that. We'll see how that plays out today. Yeah, so we're long here, but that would have put us long at right on the 48 there. So I understand that. It's just gapped. But that's BHP for you. You know, it's the whole market's like Swiss cheese. It's got holes in it everywhere. That's because it's traded on so many exchanges, of course. So I still don't know what we've got here for this. So it was a risk taking this trade, but we'll just stay with that for the time being. And we'll take a look at Rio while we're in that zone. So Rio was up yesterday as well, but also too we noted that it was in its retracement box here. It was setting up here nicely for that. This is still quite low here compared to this whole trend here, and yet it's quite a reasonable height here. So it's steady here, you know. It's not like this is shot way up here somewhere just yet, do you know? So we'll keep an eye on the speed of this. That's the important part of the stochastics. So once again, we've opened up on the gap there, so we should end up being higher here. So it's going to put these, you know, at more ease here, because yeah, I didn't want to pull that straight up. I didn't want to pull the stop up there just yet until I knew what we had. So this will push up a little bit higher, so that's going to be good. How high will it go? Let's just see. But yeah, that's good. FMG is going to be the same as well. So we're going to be, where's FMG? Fortescue. So we spoke about this the other day, and one of the things that we spoke about the other day was that we were counting down here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here for 1, and back for 2, and so on coming down here. But then this wave 4 that we were looking at up here, it basically had overlapped wave 1 here, the low of wave 1 here. So that broke the rule. So we can move that out of the way. We can bring our C wave in here for this. We could also bring this out, put this over here. We'll probably need them over here for this. The wave 3 can go, the wave 4 can go over here. This can go here, this can go here. We could look at this as wave 1 up here, and we could look at this here as wave C of 2 here. I don't really have a lot of evidence to call this wave 2 low in here as yet. I mean, this could also just be some sort of B wave rally over here for this, but I'm thinking today with the iron ore being up 6%, that's going to reflect back here, isn't it? You know, so we're on 23 here, so 23 is really important. We've got 20 here, and then we've got 21. Well, just 1, 2, and 3, and then 5. So from 20 to 30, we can count the Fibonacci sequence: 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. So that between 2 and 3 here, they're our levels. Of course, we've got group 1 here, the midpoint, which is a medium level here, and then we've got group 2 here. So basically, it basically divides up breaks down the problem into certain sections. That's what I like about it. And then you start to learn things. So I know that if we get a tested support on the 23 there, then we ain't coming back here. You know, we'll be looking, if tested support on top of 3 means that folks will be looking at 5. And they'll be lost there for a while, you know, until they figure it out, and then they'll be back in and we'll be up again. So I think this would be the point to go along at with FMG. It's not confirmed safe, but it's reasonably safe. And we looked at Rio, didn't we? As you get older, you lose the plot. Yes, we've looked at that. So I just want to have a look at gold next while we're here. So gold. Where are you? I thought you're up here. Spot gold. Okay, so we're in the tick chart here. We'll just stay in the tick chart. I'll just bring in a bit more data. So obviously last time we spoke, we were looking for this 5th wave to be up here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So we can bring that and put that in there and put that in and that in. So look, it could be that we got wave 1 and 2 here and we just go straight up from here. That's possible. Or we're going to be going down to this wave 4 here for that. This is 100 ticks. So if we were coming down here, we would use group 2 here because we're still within the 1900 here. So we've got to take group 1 and group 2. That's the swing range for all the corrections. So having that as the starting point, it really just makes you think outside the box a little bit better rather than get too close, because if you don't know this group 1 above and group 2 below, then you're going to get too close to the market and you're definitely going to get chopped up. But once the top of group 1 here finds the support, tested support here, then we're moving away from the 1900 here. So this could just continue to climb here. I don't know that. I just have to conservatively count the waves here for this. And I do have this extra wave in here for this too, which haunts me a little bit. And I was tempted to count it as 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, but we got this overlap here. So I still haven't resolved that there. This move here could be counted as an A and a B and a C to this point. Of course, this can come down further. But we can look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or 1 and 2, and we'll probably get 5 waves out of this. So yeah, if you're going to go long, then you'd need to go long above here, that second high there, probably a third high down here. You could go long, but I'll leave that to you to discuss. I will pull back from this and just go to the hourly chart, which will be kind of the same. I've got 1 degree higher here for that. I think I need to go to the 2-hour chart. We're working on this. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So yeah, in this case here, we were looking for one more top here. Still got this extra wave here, which bothers me a little bit, but yeah, so anyway, we've got that turn pretty well right, and we were looking for a move down back into this box here. So that's what we'll look for. So a bit of weakness to come into this. Let's just check on silver while we're here. Silver was down a little bit. Okay, so we were looking at I was looking at this in different ways here, but looking at it as an A wave here, a possible A, B, and C wave over here for the B wave here, and then down here for the C wave. So I think we could be on track here for that. We don't need that there. So look, a bit of a weird one, but in this instance we would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 coming down here, something like that. So not a biggie, you know. You can buy back down here if you wanted to, because it's corrective. So buying anywhere from 27.50 to 27.20 would be a logical space to buy in. Alrighty, I think I didn't cover the Australian dollar, did I? Sorry about that. Yeah, still a bit messy. We don't have any clear run there. With this not breaking lower than this low here, that when it started to break down, we still could be down for 1 and back for 2 and 3, 4, 5 here. Anyway, nothing happening here yet for this, so nothing. But the takeaway here is this move from this high down to this low here is in 3 waves. So this is a bullish corrective pattern. We will be above the 80 at some point. It's just, do we get a flat correction or do we get the triangle pattern? But in the meantime, don't get involved in this. You'll only be chopped up. Don't get addicted to one market, because I mean, any market, half the time or 2/3 of the time, it's not doing what you want it to do. So you just really need to be refined to be able to catch what you want, or just swallow the whole lot up and and stay in it for the long term. As long as you don't have to pay financing costs. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.